All right. Good evening. This is Luke Thomas, QuakePrediction.com here at the Earthquake Channel. It is 11:40 in the evening in Los Angeles on Saturday, January 9th, 2021. And we're going to start by reviewing the quakes that have happened during the last 24 hours. There's been 43 earthquakes, significant earthquakes across the world. And the two largest quakes, the one right here in Vanuatu that just happened, it's a 6.1, and we don't forecast for that area yet. And a 6.1 over in Argentina, actually was way up in northeast Chile as well on the border. And we're going to go to that right now. So you can see this 6.1 hit right here in northeast Chile and northwest Argentina. 4.5 up here in the northern Chile, which was in our 70% risk area. And this 4.1 was in our 75% risk area right in here. And the other one, the 6.1 quake, which is the most significant quake, was in our 90% risk area right here. So we did pretty good on that 6.1 earthquake, which is a significant earthquake. We always want those to hit in the 90 or 95% risk areas, which is good. Central America is quiet the last 24 hours. And here in California, the most significant quake here was a 3.3 in the northwest. And that occurred in our 90% risk area. And in Alaska, the largest quake occurred here in Western Canada. And we mentioned that in our forecast yesterday, right up here in the 70% risk area. In the Japan, nothing really going on there, but down in Taiwan, we mentioned these quakes would be likely down in that area. And you can see our risk was 80% where this quake in the north occurred, and 85% where the 4.7 occurred. So the 4.8 occurred in the 80% and the 4.7 in the 85% risk area, which is good because that's the highest risk area. All right, and Indonesia is quiet. So we're going to go to the forecast now around the world. We're going to start with California. And we have the residual amount of energy up here in the north on the 8th into the 9th. We're actually going very close to the 10th now. So that's this forecast. And you can see the risk is building in the south, 65 to 70% in the south. And then on the 10th into the 11th, it gets pretty quiet across the California. And the 11th into the 12th, which I believe is Monday into Tuesday, is 85% risk up here near I think Ukiah, Petrolia, Eureka, northwest and north of San Francisco Bay. Could get a 3.5 or maybe a 4 in that area. All right, over in Alaska earthquake forecast. Again, that risk over here in Western Canada, 65% risk near Kodiak. And that moves into Kodiak on the 10th and the 11th. And then a more significant band of risk here from Kodiak Island over to Moresby Island, and a 70, 75, 80% risk in there. So something more significant, maybe a 5.0 larger, will occur in this high risk area in the 11th into the 12th. In Chile, as we said, we get the 6.1 earthquake hit in this high risk area, 90% risk area in the north. And then on the 10th into the 11th, that diminishes to 75% and 90% offshore here. And then on the 11th and the 12th, that diminishes even more to 70% on the 11th and the 12th. So it's interesting how that risk begins to diminish after that large earthquake that just hit in the 90% risk area, the 6.1 that just hit there. All right, in Italy, we have risk building in here. This is 75 to 80% in Sicily. And Algeria and Tunisia could get a 4.0 to 4.5 in the next 12 to 24 hours. And look at this. This is where we had that warning out a couple days ago and nothing happened. Well, the stress just continues to build in that area, and still expecting a 4.5 to 5.5 in Pescara, I believe it is, in east central Italy, Pescara, and I believe that's a province or prefecture in there in the east central Italy. So expecting a significant earthquake there in east central Italy on January 10th or 11th. And then the 11th and the 12th, that same spot there in Pescara is high risk on the 11th and the 12th as well. Interesting. We'll see what happens here in Italy during the next 24 to 36 hours. In Japan, the risk has continued here in the northeast from Akita over to Iwate and Aomori in the far northeast on the 9th and the 10th. And then on the 10th into the 11th, and right now I believe it's like 2 in the afternoon or 3 in the afternoon in Japan on the 10th. And so during the next 24 hours, we should get something significant, 5.5 or larger in northeast Japan from Aomori to Iwate Prefecture. And Morioka, I believe, is in here, and Akita. So we'll watch for that during the next 24 hours. And then the risk moves down into like Fukushima, Iwaki, and that area in Tokyo on the 11th and the 12th. Philippines. It has been pretty quiet in the Philippines. 9th into the 10th, we have a risk here northeast Philippines, 70%, small risk, and 10th into the 11th, kind of way in the north here, 60%. 11th to the 12th, low risk across the country. So pretty quiet in the Philippines for the next 48 hours. Over in the Greece forecast, risk is building into west central Greece, and that could produce a 4.5 earthquake in west central Greece. And the 10th and the 11th, it's more up in Albania. And the 11th and the 12th of January, northern Albania as well again, and far northern Greece on the 11th and the 12th. Central America. All right, this risk in Nicaragua builds into Honduras and eastern Guatemala on the 9th into the 10th. And then the risk is in southern Mexico on the 10th into the 11th. 11th and 12th of January, far eastern in Colombia and eastern Panama on the 11th or 12th. And Ecuador and Peru forecast. Moderate risk in the northwest part of Peru on the, well, we're past that forecast now. 9th into the 10th, which is right now. 75% risk in the far northwest part of Peru and western portion of Ecuador. And here's where some action might happen on the 10th into the 11th, where we could get a 5.5 or larger in northwest Peru or southwest Ecuador. Watch for that. And then the 11th and the 12th, that risk diminishes. So significant earthquake in northwest Peru on the 10th into the 11th of January. Indonesia, risk is in the far north of Sumatra on the 9th into the 10th. That risk diminishes to 65%. And the 11th and the 12th, it diminishes even more to 50%. So during the next 12 hours or so, we should get something in far northern Sumatra, about a 4.0 to 5.0. Taiwan, now we showed you those two earthquakes that occurred, 4.8 here and a 4.7 here in this high risk area. Well, that risk diminishes on the 10th into the 11th and 11th into the 12th. So the risk is diminishing. So we got those two quakes that we were expecting in Taiwan in our warning area, and now that risk begins to diminish. And the Caribbean forecast, 4.0 to 5.0 is possible in the northeast portion of the Caribbean or the northern Lesser Antilles during the next 12 hours or so. And then on the 11th and the 12th, the risk is high in near Puerto Rico and the British and American Virgin Islands there. Seattle, Washington. Here's an interesting forecast. This is the 8th into the 9th, which is kind of an old forecast. here's the situation here. We could get a 5.0 larger on the Vancouver Island or northwest of Seattle on the 10th into the 11th. So watch during the next 24 hours or so a strong earthquake, about a 5.0 or larger as possible in northwestern Washington state or in the southeast portion of Vancouver Island, northwest of Seattle. A significant or strong earthquake northwest of Seattle during the next 10th and the 11th, the next 24 to 36 hours. All right. And then Turkey, I believe Turkey, it's still kind of quiet. Let's see. Well, 70% risk in the far west. And then on the 10th and the 11th, it looks more like in Iraq, a little bit of risk there. 11th into the 12th in Syria and Iraq, 75, 80% risk there. So pretty quiet across Turkey during the next 36 to 48 hours. And Hawaii. The 8th into the 9th, I guess we're not past that now. We're 9th into the 10th. The risk is 65% in the south there near Hilo. And the 10th into the 11th, pretty quiet. And the 11th into the 12th, we get a 4.0 offshore here in the western portion of Hawaii. New Zealand. All right. High risk in the far north of the northern island there of New Zealand on the 9th and the 10th. And the 10th and 11th in the far southwest portion of New Zealand. And the 11th and the 12th, northwest of Wellington here, we got a 90% risk in the northern portion of the New Zealand. And also in the southwest, a 95% risk down here. So we could get a 4.0 to 4.5 or even a 5.0 in either of these areas in the northwest or in the southwest portion of New Zealand. Once again, in Los Angeles, risk is shifting from the northwest now to the southeast. So we could get a 3.0 to 3.5 in the south near the Salton Sea. And the 10th and 11th, it gets kind of quiet. And then 4.0 is possible near Ukiah or southeast of Eureka on the 11th and 12th. All right. Thanks so much for joining us today. It is again Saturday and almost Sunday in Los Angeles, California. And thanks for watching here on Saturday. We'll be talking to you Sunday night, giving you an update on the situation of that warning for northwest of Seattle. Something should happen up there. And it's been an interesting situation there. So we'll talk to you again tomorrow, and we'll give you an update on all the quakes around the world. Again, we just had a 6.1 hit in Vanuatu. Maybe eventually we'll have a forecast for Vanuatu and Solomon Islands in the future. So stick around. We're doing over 30 countries right now. Please click the subscribe button and subscribe on our YouTube page. We have like 148,000 followers now on our YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. So thank you very much for following and supporting us here at QuakePrediction.com, theearthquakechannel.com. And we will talk to you Sunday night at about 10 p.m. Pacific time. And we'll talk to you later. Thank you so much.